Hello and good evening, hockey fans. Welcome back into the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam Karnick. Zach Pupoulis is back with us tonight. Adam and Zach tonight on the show. A lot in store for you. The NHL's got a busy slate of Tuesday night games lined up for us tonight. 11 games in action, 22 teams duking it out as we speak. We will keep you up to date on all those scores. And just about everybody is 60 games into the season at this point, which means the playoff seeding is starting to take shape. Who looks safe to be making the Stanley Cup playoffs? Who needs some help? And who is in rough shape? We will be breaking that down and setting up some brackets. It's March. Everybody loves brackets. Hockey can get in on that too. Speaking of brackets, the Women's Frozen Four began last week. We will peek in on that, see which teams have advanced. It's the largest Women's Frozen Four tournament field we've ever had. We'll see how it's gone. All that and more. Buckle on up. This is the Neutral Zone. And once again, welcome on everyone into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio. I am the co-host, Adam Karnick. Zach Pupoulis will be along with us shortly. Yeah, we're both back in this tonight, so everybody's on board. Lot in store for you tonight. Yeah, there's Zach. You hear in the background. Lot to go through tonight. Get you caught up on some news. You may have heard there are 22 teams in action tonight. We will keep you updated on all the relevant scoring and scoring information going on. And then also, playoffs are starting to take shape in the NHL. We'll take a look at who's doing well, who is needing some help in that department. And then before we get out of here, too, the Women's Frozen Four in the NCAA started last week. We'll take a peek in on that as well. Without any further ado, a word from our sponsor, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California_Warriors, or find them at Southern California Warriors on Facebook. And IE Sports Radio is available at IE Sports Radio on all the major platforms, be it Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And also, check out our website, iesportsradio.com. While you're there, be sure to check out our blog. Mike Pat runs that. We've got several new authors coming in and putting in their thoughts, fingers to keyboards, as it were. And also be sure to check out the link to our Patreon page, like Emlos Great and at Bay Area Raised have done. They are Patreon supporters for us here. That really does help us. It allows us to take the next step as a sports radio station, and we want to bring you along on that ride. So thank you to at Emlos Great and at Bay Area Raised for continuing to support us on Patreon, and please consider supporting us on Patreon. And also, speaking of Mike Pat running the blog, the 2022 NFL Draft is right around the corner. IE Sports Radio is excited to announce its third annual Mock Draft Challenge. The rules are simple. Predict all 32 first-round picks. No trades, no modifications, no tricks. The participant who has the best mock draft will receive a shout-out on all of our shows and their choice of an IE Sports Radio hat or shirt. For more information or to submit your mock, please reach out to Mike Pat at Let's Wine _IESR. And good luck. And this show is available to you on Twitter. You can find us at Neutral Zone, at IESR Neutral Zone. I am at Adam _Kernick. Zach is at The Pupless. Zach, it's been a few weeks. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Ready to go. Ready to rock and roll and ready to talk about some hockey.
Yeah.
So before we dive into the scores and highlights, I figured we would talk about some news first, starting, first of all, with the Buffalo Sabres. You may have heard earlier tonight, a few hours ago, one of our newest shows, the Buffalo Huddle, with Patty running that, talking about all things Buffalo, New York sports, and her Buffalo Sabres were, if I can make a pun, am I allowed to make a pun 7 minutes into the show, Zach?
Isn't that what we're here for? Come on.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. The Sabres were rattling everybody this weekend.
Hey, I'm not the one with the ticker. That's Taryn, to see how long it takes us to get off the rails, remember?
Hey, we're still on the rails. That's a hockey-related pun, and I'm sticking with it.
That is fair game, and I am all here for it.
All right. It started with, first of all, they hosted the prodigal son, Jack Eichel, came home from Vegas. I'm sure all kinds of debauched up and all kinds of, excitement and all of that. Buffalo wasn't exactly very polite to their guests in that game. They went ahead and beat Jack Eichel and his Golden Knights from Las Vegas. They then turned around and in the Heritage Classic, one of the numerous outdoor games that the NHL puts on, they went ahead and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs on Sunday. And not only did they beat the Maple Leafs, they got Austin Matthews suspended 2 games for a cross-check. So,
right.
So Boston making waves. Who said that the Buffalo Sabres weren't going to be relevant in hockey? Ha!
They said, "Here, hold my beer."
Exactly. Well, let's start with the Vegas game real quick. Jack Eichel, afterwards, blew a little smoke at his former team, commented that was the loudest he'd ever heard Buffalo, that, when they were booing him. So, just trying to get a dig in there to his former team.
Well, especially if you lose a game there and you might feel the need to be a little chippy about it. That's for sure.
Well, and let's remember too that the situation between Buffalo and Eichel didn't exactly end well. This offseason.
There's a reason he's in Vegas. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I guess it is technically for his health, isn't it? I was going to say it's not just for his, the desert air is not just for his health, but now that I think about it, it is for his health.
Well, excuse me. Sorry, let's make the distinction between physical and mental health. True.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, Buffalo handling Vegas. Vegas has not been doing well recently either, on a 4-game losing streak. And as we take a peek over at them right now, they're playing the Winnipeg Jets. And that score is still current. With just under 14 minutes left in the second, they're down 2-0 to Winnipeg. Vegas is in danger of dropping 5 straight here.
That's no good.
Yeah, that's definitely not good, especially with where they're suddenly find themselves in the Pacific Division, and we'll get at that a little bit later on as we look at the standings. But then Buffalo, then for an encore, takes on Toronto and gets Austin Matthews, who's the NHL goal-scoring leader and also somebody who's never gotten suspended to this point in his lengthy career, got him all so riled up that he's now suspended for 2 games for the Leafs, tonight's game against the Stars and Thursday night's game against Carolina. Toronto needs those points. They're sitting kind of precariously in third in their division right now in the Atlantic. They can't afford to be, I mean, they're making it work tonight against Dallas, but Carolina, you need all hands on deck to handle the Hurricanes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he leads the NHL with 45 goals in 56 games. I mean, that's he's a huge contributor, you know?
Yeah. He's a point a night kind of a player, and when you're going up against Carolina, which, averages 4 goals a night, you need everybody you can get that can put the puck in net.
Yeah, for sure. It's his first fine or suspension in his 6-year career. Previously, he earned only 68 penalty minutes in 390 career games and was a 2-time finalist for the NHL's Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct.
Thank you for saying the name of the trophy. I knew there was a trophy for it. I couldn't remember the name.
I had to say gentlemanly conduct, kind of like John Oliver, just because it felt right.
hey, that would be his trophy if he were into hockey.
Right? Here's Matthews' quote on the hit on Rasmus Dahlin that got him suspended. So you're just battling in front of the net. He said after the game, I felt like I kind of rode up his shoulder and his shoulder pack rolled up a little bit. That's hockey. You're competing out there.
Yeah. No, he went after his head. It was not unjustified. He had gotten hit late earlier in the game and there was no call. So I don't necessarily blame him for retaliating, but it was a cross check. It was dirty.
Gotcha. And it says here, based off his annual average salary, Matthews will forfeit. You ready for this?
Fire away.
You want to guess how much?
I've seen it, so it would not be fair.
$116,402.50.
Actual retail value is
Wah, bah, bah, bah.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
The money goes to the Players Emergency Assistance Slush Fund.
Yeah, it goes to. That's what a lot of the sports leagues do for fines. Is they have a slush fund or a charity fund that those fines go towards, and then they go out that way. So,
oh, that's good.
But yeah, I saw that number. It was yeah, that's gonna hurt the wallet a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe not when you're making millions of dollars a year, but still.
Well, still, every little bit counts. Now, Toronto, it's not hurting them tonight. They're halfway through the third period in Toronto. The Leafs are up 3-0 against Dallas. So they're making it work tonight. Not a big surprise. But again, the game where they're really going to miss him is going to be Thursday night against Carolina. That's going to be a rough one for Toronto. And they're going to want those points. They're going to need those points.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of gets us through the news. So let's... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You were talking about standings and teams that are on a 5-game losing streak. So not only Vegas, but my Red Wings too. It looks like. Wah, wah.
Yes. But unlike Vegas, your Red Wings are basically out of playoff contention, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, this is true, but hey, baby steps, right? Reasonable expectations and all that. I was happy that we were floating right around 500, and now we're below 500.
I mean, they are 55 points in 59 games. They are right smack in the middle of the Atlantic. That is leaps and bounds better from where they were just a season or two ago, where they were Montreal now. They were just at the bottoming out and playing a miserable brand of hockey.
Yeah.
So no, they are definitely overall trending well. But yes, they are in a 5-game losing streak and are now sub 500 again, and probably will stay sub 500 between now and the end of the season. Maybe a little over, but
yeah,
close anyway.
The low point being the 2 losses to Florida last Saturday, and then the one we were talking about against Arizona, 9-2. Like, oh my God, you guys against freaking Arizona, get with it.
Yeah. Though I guess we should, before we get any further, we should talk about Arizona for a minute. The 9 goals against the Red Wings. That was last week. That was last week, or was
a week ago? A week ago today. Yep.
That was a week ago. Yeah, I knew it was a show night because I was picking on you about it without you here. I couldn't remember if it was last week when I was solo or if it was 2 weeks ago with Matthew Owens, but I think you're right. It was last week.
Without me there to defend myself, how dare you?
Hey, low-hanging fruit is very juicy and sweet. I will take it. I am not above that.
Fair. That's fair.
So yeah,
Coyotes got goals from Boyd, Ritchie, Chitron, Schmaltz, another from Chitron, another from Ritchie, another from Schmaltz. Oh my God! Like 3 guys got 2/3 of the way to a hat trick. Schmaltz. Oh no, we already got Schmaltz. Fisher and Keller. And Red Wings got goals from Fabry and Vrana. Brutal.
Yes, that absolutely was just a brutal game for the Red Wings. But apparently, all of a sudden, Arizona has figured out how to score because, all right, they did that to your Red Wings last week. Last night, against Ottawa, the Coyotes put up 5 goals on just 15 shots. So coming out of nowhere there, and they had one of their scorers got a hat trick. I need to look up who it was. It was Cruzy. Cruz got a hat trick, and then they're playing tonight again on a back-to-back. They put up 5 goals against the Canadiens. So Arizona is just all of a sudden become a scoring machine. Now, granted, yes, tonight's Montreal. Last night was Ottawa. Not necessarily the cream of the NHL crop, but still. And they've only got 16 shots tonight, and they've got 5 goals. That's 10 goals on their last 31 shots for Arizona. What are they drinking out there?
Right. What gives you the best MPG? Motor oil or something?
Yeah, they got some kind of a mix going
ethanol,
on there with that.
Some kind of cactus ethanol, maybe?
Yeah. They're desperately hoping that if they score enough goals, that someone will buy them a real arena for next year.
Right, yeah. They're looking for an azúcar daddy.
Yes. Por favor.
Buy us a new arena, Daddy, please.
Please. We don't want to play in the college arena. Please. Get us some real facilities.
I could just, for the pictures and everything, it seemed like it looked pretty nice. But I mean, I can just imagine all the other leagues like laughing at them, like, "Ha, you play in a college arena."
Yeah, it's nice for a college arena, but these aren't college kids. These are professional athletes. They deserve a professional arena.
Well, and I, to be honest, like, I would understand it if they already had a plan in place to have the new one, and they had to move while it was being built. Like, I would understand that.
Sure.
Like, guys, you don't even have plans for a new stadium at all. Like,
nope.
Because for football, for instance, when the Metrodome came down, and before the new, Viking ship-looking stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium, was built, didn't the Vikings play at the Minnesota Gophers football stadium?
They did.
TCF Bank Stadium.
They did for a season. The Bears, when Soldier Field got remodeled 20 years ago. Yet the Bears
had a playoff game in the cold, and the guy missed the kick, and it was in TCF Bank Stadium. It was against the Seahawks. I remember that.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah. The Bears did the same thing about 20 years ago when Soldier Field got remodeled. They played for one season down in Champaign at University of Illinois.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You want to talk about every game was a road game that season, but
isn't that a trek too?
That is not close. Yeah, to go from Chicago to Urbana-Champaign. Yeah, it's not like it's 10 minutes away. People are complaining about Arlington Heights being too far away. Urbana-Champaign is a drive from Chicago.
That's what I thought. Yikes.
So Pierre Moss joins us in the chat. He's saying, let's go Rangers. Pierre hosts our show that never sleeps on Wednesday nights. The Rangers are tied with the Ducks at the minute at 3 with 6 minutes and change to go. The Rangers find themselves, this is a nice segue into our talk about the standings, since we are basically at this point, we're down to everybody's got about 60 games into the season. We're roughly 3/4 of the way through the season. We wanted to look tonight at some of the standings and look at who's in, who's out for the Stanley Cup playoffs at this point. And the Rangers find themselves kind of in an interesting spot. Right now they're in third in the Metropolitan. They'd be in, no problems. But they're only 5 points in front of Washington. They do have a game up on Washington. And you always want to finish. You want to finish in the top 3 in your division if you can at all help it. Because we figured it'd be good to kind of refresh since the last couple of years. The playoffs have been unusual. The format has been unusual. They're back to the regular playoff format now, where it's division-based. If you finish in the top 3 in your division, you're automatically in. They then, if you finish outside of the top 3, they rank the conference and take the top 2 teams to be wild cards. The best wild card team goes to the weaker division winner. The weaker wild card team goes to the better division winner, and they play divisional format from there. 1 versus wild card, 2 versus 3, and they play down from there. So just a quick refresher on the playoff format as we get into this. So it's the big spots are always wanting to finish in the top 3 in your division. So as we look at the East, first off, Zach, what do you think about the East in general? I feel like it's kind of set.
1 second while my standings load.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Well, I mean, the Tampa Bay is going to be there regardless.
Right.
We know the Panthers are really good this year. Of course, Carolina Yeah, and exactly. Eastern Conference. Okay. Florida's in the Atlantic. Florida's at the top, followed by Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston. And then it's a drop off in terms, well, they're bunched pretty close in terms of points. 86 for Florida, 82 for Tampa, 79 for Toronto, 77 for Boston. Then there's just a huge drop off to my Red Wings at 55. Okay, so then you go to the Metropolitan. You got Carolina at 87, Pittsburgh at 81. Yeah, Pittsburgh's been really good lately too. They just beat Vegas as well. Saturday night? No, Friday night maybe. Over the weekend, anyways. So Carolina 87, Pittsburgh 81, Rangers at 79, Washington at 73. There's kind of a drop off to Columbus at 63. So, okay, so 8 teams each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, it's pretty much set unless somebody either goes on a huge slide or somebody goes on a huge run.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point they just have to figure out seeding.
Yeah, the difference between Washington is sitting at the number 2 wildcard team right now with 74 points. The Blue Jackets are at 63, 11 points back with 22 games to play. That's a ton of ground to have to try and make up. I mean, you need...
Good luck.
Yeah, you need Washington to basically get on a massive cold streak, and the Blue Jackets have to catch fire here over the last month of the season to get in. So, yeah, they're in, but if you're the Rangers, you don't want to fall into that wild card spot. They're 2 points in front of Boston, and they're 5 points in front of Washington. I'd rather stay in that 2 or 3 spot, wind up facing Pittsburgh. That way I don't have to worry about facing either Carolina or Florida in the first round if I'm the Rangers.
Oh gosh, yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, Columbus would need a lot of gunpowder for those cannons to make up that kind of ground.
Yes. Oh yeah, a lot of it.
Now on the West, unless you have more on the East, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Pierre jumps into the chat, and he is riding Chris Kreider for the Hart Trophy. 38 goals on the season. That is very good. It's certainly near the top of the leaders. I feel like it's Austin Matthews right now, but with Matthews being out for a couple of games, Kreider, if he could get hot a little bit, absolutely, he's in the running for the Hart.
Yeah. On the West, you got Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, Nashville, all up in the 80s and 70s. On the Pacific, or that Central. So in the Pacific, Calgary and LA are in 79 and 74 respectively, and then it's a little bit of drop off to Edmonton and Vegas, who are tied at 68. So there's 6 teams that are pretty much squared away. So the last 2 would be up for grabs at that point between Edmonton, Vegas, Vancouver, Anaheim, all still in the 60s. And then Dallas and Winnipeg, I guess, would be your other 2 possible wild cards. But between those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, I guess, for the last 2 spots.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the wild card in the West, you've got all that separates Nashville from the top wild card spot from Anaheim in the 6th spot is just 8 points. Yeah. And if you're Vegas, you've only got 68 points. There's only 4 points that separates Vegas from being in 2nd, from Anaheim being in 6th. The Western Conference is a mess. You know, we were talking about Vegas being on a 4-game losing streak and currently losing right now to Winnipeg. they can't afford to be dropping many more of these games. They're in danger of getting knocked out, and speaking of getting knocked out, they're down 4-1 right now to Winnipeg. They're in danger of getting knocked out of the playoffs if they don't turn this around.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that'd be the first year they wouldn't have made it.
Could you imagine Vegas acquires Jack Eichel, gets him in January, and misses the playoffs?
It gets worse. Yeah, that would be wow. I would not have expected that. That's for sure.
No, that would be a shocker, a stunner.
Yeah, definitely.
But as you're looking at it, I mean, Edmonton has turned things. Now, Edmonton and Vegas are tied with 68 points. Edmonton gets the tiebreaker because right now they've only played 59 games. They've got 2 games in hand on Vegas. But we've seen Edmonton go cold. So Vegas, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could turn this around and get back into the division and out of the wild card even.
Yeah. They hold the tiebreaker not because of head to head, but because of they haven't played as many games and they have more room to improve.
Right. What the NHL does during the regular season, if you have the same number of points, standings points, they'll look at how many games you've played. And if you haven't played as many games, you've effectively done better because you've earned just as many points without playing as many games.
There we go. As soon as you started going down that path, I'm like, oh, that must be it. They're more efficient.
Yep. Yeah. And let's face it, that corrects itself by the end of the season anyway. Everybody winds up playing 82.
Yeah, statistically, yeah.
So it's only used in the regular season. After that, that's when you get into. You actually don't ever wind up with head to head. The next one is a tiebreaker they call row, which is regulation and overtime wins. They look at your wins and they throw out all the shootouts and how many games did you win.
And it's called what?
Row, ROW, as in the Minnesota Gophers football coach always talking about row the boat. Row. We spray to all fields here on Neutral Zone. Trust us, we'll get to yours eventually.
I'm so happy you went there. Keep rowing the boat.
Row the boat. Well, and we have enough friends that went to Central Michigan at the time, and they were always talking about how Western was rowing 10.
So he has three catchphrases that he always uses, and now he's compiled them and put them all back to back. So, row the boat from Western Michigan. They have Sky You Ma from Minnesota, and then his own little personal brand, which I guess row the boat kind of fits into that as well. But he's every time, how you doing, Coach Fleck? Oh, I'm feeling elite. So it's row the boat, Sky Yuma, feeling elite.
God, he's such a coach. God.
Right.
Does he ever not talk in catchphrases?
In coach speak?
Yeah, in coach speak.
Which, side note, a friend of mine, I was talking about an audition I did for TCP for their next musical, and she says, she gave me like every catchphrase in the book of like motivational phrases.
That's a long book.
The Cliff Notes. Let's see. Let me say some more cliches. Practice makes perfect. Shoot for the moon. There is no I in team. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go.
Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. I will die on that hill.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Huff.
Anyhow, getting back to hockey for a minute. So the West is definitely far more open. Is there anybody, when you're looking at this, is there anybody in the West right now that you feel safe about and saying, yes, they are in?
Well, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. So I think, we talked about the East being pretty much squared away except for just seeding. The West, I think we've got 6 of the 8 teams squared away. So definitely Colorado. They're leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. 89 points compared to 76, and even 79 if you compare them to Calgary in the other division. So they're 10 points ahead of Calgary, and they're 13 points ahead of St. Louis. So I would say your teams right now: Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, Nashville, and then throw Calgary and LA in there too. And then the other 5 or 6 are going to fight for the last 2 wildcard spots. So that'd be your ones fighting for it would be Edmonton, Vegas, Dallas, and Winnipeg, and I guess Anaheim too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're feeling a lot more confident than I am looking at this. I feel like Colorado, they're a lock. St. Louis is a lock. Minnesota, they're just sitting there at 72 points. That's not, that's the same amount of points as Nashville. They're only ahead of Nashville again because they've got a game in hand on the Predators. And then you get into that vicious wild card bubble of, they're only 4 points in front of Vegas, only 5 points in front of Dallas. I could conceivably see Minnesota slipping. Now, it would be like finishing third in the wild card race instead of in the top 2. I feel more comfortable about them than I do, say, for example, Vegas or Edmonton right now. But I don't feel like Minnesota's a lock. Calgary, they're in. I'm happy. Calgary's done a lot the last couple weeks. The Flames are in. Go Flames, go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've been good the last couple of years. Really,
yeah.
Last 5 or 6 probably.
Yep. Yeah, they are in a little bit of a losing streak right now, but they've won 6 out of their last 10. They've got, 13 points in their last 10 games. They're doing really well. I'm not worried about them. You also look at some of the goal differentials that you've got going on there, and that's where I also worry about Minnesota a little bit with Nashville. They're neck and neck. Their goal differential is just so similar. But then there's a big drop off there. Everybody that's not in the playoffs right now, currently in the West, they all have a negative goal differential. So all kinds of weirdness going on in the West. The West is certainly going to be more wild and more fun to keep an eye on. The East is set. We know there's 8 teams for 8 chairs. We know who's sitting there. It's just a matter of which chair they're going to be in.
We just need to put a bow on it at this point.
Right, exactly. And I'm even willing to call Carolina wins the Metropolitan and Florida, a team from Florida wins the Atlantic.
Way to hedge your bet. I love it.
The Lightning scare me. The Lightning, we know what the Lightning can do. That they are just that they can get hot at a moment's notice and start scoring and just turn into that team that gets hot at the last second. So a team from Florida wins that division, but give me Carolina in the Metropolitan.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like Mike earlier today. All of our friends that like to gamble and do crypto and stuff, and they're the ones that say, "Okay, kids, make sure you gamble responsibly."
Yes. I am hedging the hell out of that bet. Don't come to me. Just side note, if anything that I say on either show, you decide to gamble with it, that's on you. That's not on me.
Right. Do we need a disclaimer?
Maybe. Oh, and
Big-
speaking
big
of
man.
Pierre's Rangers, they got the win tonight
Disclaimer
in overtime over Anaheim.
Hey-o.
Chris Kreider got a power play goal to tie it for the Rangers late, forced overtime.
Is Pierre going to talk some smack to Taryn, or?
Possibly. Pierre doesn't talk a whole lot of smack. Pierre, of the two guys on the show that never sleeps, Harrison and Pierre is definitely more the nice guy of the two. Harrison, now he'll jump in and talk some smack, but Pierre doesn't talk a whole lot of trash. He has more fun with it. He'll joke back and forth, I think.
Okay, all right.
Of course, I say that now. Pierre will probably correct me, but
Well, you always want to give him the benefit of the doubt, you know.
exactly. All right, we should take a quick break, and then on the flip side, yes, it's March. Yes, we know there's madness going on. There's hockey madness going on. The women's Frozen Four. It's the biggest Frozen Four on the women's side we've ever had. Let's check in on it. This is the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back right after this.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with a list of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
Lay down music,
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com, part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pulp culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? This is Ben Matello, the host of the Yinza Report, right here on IE Sports Radio. I'm bringing you the latest in the Steel City, the City of Champions, from the Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, as well as the college game with both Penn State and Pitt. You could join me every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, where I'll be talking about everything from the Steel City, the City of Champions, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We talked a lot of NHL in the first segment, but March means madness, not just for college basketball, but for college hockey as well. The women's Frozen Four tournament was the largest field they've ever had. Up to 11 schools participated, up from 8, and they are down to the Frozen Four in the women's. Zach, who have we got left?
Let's see here. We have Northeastern. We have Northeastern versus Minnesota Duluth, and we have Ohio State versus Yale. Ohio State got there by virtue of a win over Quinnipiac 4-3 in double overtime. Yale beat Colgate 2-1 in overtime to get there. It says for the first time in program history, Yale will move on to the Frozen Four. The Ivy League team avenged their loss in the ECAC championship game in overtime. Minnesota Duluth defeated Minnesota 2-1 to get there, and Northeastern
Harvard
defeated Wisconsin. Northeastern defeated Wisconsin 4-2 in a rematch of last year's national championship game.
And Minnesota Duluth also beat Harvard in the first round. We've got one school from the first round that has made it all the way into the women's Frozen Four as well. So, argument for the expanded field.
Wait, say it again. I mean, aren't these all teams from the first round that made it?
No. Ohio State earned a bye. Ohio State and Yale and Northeastern both earned byes into the second round.
Okay, I'm sorry. I gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah,
Cool.
for the first year of an expanded field, we had one of those bottom three or four schools get in.
A first four to Final Four, if you will.
Exactly.
Sort of deal. Gotcha. The Northeastern defeating Wisconsin game was a rematch of last year's national championship game, but it went the other way as Northeastern took down the defending champion in commanding fashion. Do you have more on this, or you wanted to talk about Ohio State and their record setting? Isn't that right?
Yes, Ohio State. They're getting ready to play Yale. Ohio State. They are the highest scoring team in the NCAA, and they're one of the hardest to score against. So, with them getting past Quinnipiac in double overtime in the second round, I would expect Ohio State to take this. I would expect them to beat Yale. And my wife's from Minnesota. I have no problems rooting for Minnesota Duluth to get past Northeastern.
Nice. So you think the finals will Ohio State, Minnesota Duluth?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. That's fine. This is a fun little tidbit about Ohio State Quinnipiac. With so much happening in women's hockey, it's like Ohio State and Quinnipiac wanted to make sure everyone watched their game by extending it an extra period and a few minutes.
Yeah.
The absolutely chaotic game saw matching goals every period with Quinnipiac goaltender Corinne Schrader seeing more than 70 shots and a double overtime.
That's a lot.
In the end, it was Claire DeGeorge, just 2 minutes into the second overtime, who sent the number one team in the nation on to the Frozen Four.
And those Frozen Four games will be this Friday, the 18th of March, and they are the Frozen Four and the championship games will be played at Penn State, so at Happy Valley.
Oh, nice. The first one's played at 3:30 Eastern. The second one's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Championship game is the Sunday the 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern.
So best of luck to all four of those teams. We'll keep an eye on that. And Zach, you had a little bit of an update for us on the men's Frozen Four as they're getting ready to set that bracket.
For sure. From NCAA.com, we've got the final Power 10 men's hockey rankings before selections. This was as of yesterday. It's been quite the season. Parity at the top has been some of the best we've ever seen in college hockey. Top 10 consistently changed every week, which made these Monday rankings always different and more interesting. Selections are going to be 6:30 p.m. this Sunday, March 20th on ESPNU. Still lots of conference playoff action left that will impact the bracket. So one final time, here's the rankings. Minnesota State, number 1. Number 2, Minnesota. Number 3, Denver. Number 4, Michigan. 5, North Dakota. 6, Quinnipiac. 6 Quinnipiac. 7, Western Michigan. Ooh, good for them. 8, Minnesota Duluth. 9, Notre Dame. And number 10, Northeastern. So some of the same programs that we've been talking about on the women's side are also good on the men's side.
Oh yeah, not a surprise. Yeah, those are stalwarts in the college hockey program for sure.
Quinnipiac, Duluth, Northeastern. Yeah.
3 Minnesota teams, not a surprise. I'm honestly surprised North Dakota's not in there as well. They're having a little bit of a down year.
Oh, no, number 5, North Dakota, right there.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I was going to say North Dakota's usually in there too.
Did I skip that one? I'm sorry.
You said it. I misheard it.
Gotcha. Oh, you want 7 sleepers real quick too?
Looking at the time, we do have a show coming up right after us. Sin City is coming up to talk all things Vegas. I know he's going to be talking about Jack Eichel and the Golden Knights that are apparently bound for a 5-game losing streak. So I think we'll save that for next week.
Okay.
All right. And looking at the time, yeah, we are going to be right up against it. So I'm going to sound the horn. A quick NHL score update. The Capitals won in a shootout over the New York Islanders. Alexander Ovechkin is now third all-time in goals scoring tonight. Congratulations to Great 8 on getting there. Woo! Lots that we went through tonight. Lots more that we'll go through again next week. Thank you to the Southern California Warriors for sponsoring us here. Not only this show, but all the shows here on the network. Thank you to Larry for all the hard work he does behind the scenes, keeping things going. Thank you to Pierre and to Mike for coming and hanging out with us in the chat room. Mike actually alerted me to the Capitals score there and about Alexander Ovechkin, so thank you for that as well. Lots to be keeping an eye on in the NHL and in college here over the next couple weeks. We're getting into go time in the seasons. The contenders are separating themselves. Going to be a lot of fun over the next few weeks. Next week, we will have a women's national champion to discuss and celebrate. We'll have a men's collegiate field to dissect and break down. And of course, there'll be all kinds of fun NHL news across the way. Austin Matthews will be back from a suspension. Who knows where everybody will be sitting? All kinds of good fun. Be sure to stick around. Coming up next, we've got Sin City Sports, talking all things Las Vegas. Certainly, you are going to want to stick around for that. For Zach, I am Adam. We are the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio. Thank you so much for listening to us. We really do appreciate it. Until next week, stay out of the penny box. Don't get checked into the boards. We'll see you then.